Good morning, everyone. Sonia here. Alright, time to take a look at the hives a week after the bees have been in them. Technically, it's been 8.5 days, and just want to see what progress they've made. One thing I've done is I brought the smoker with me. I don't think I'll need it, or I hope I won't need it. But the one thing that I'm considering right now is that if I start accessing the hive and pulling frames out to take a look at them, the bees might be more defensive than they were before because they have brood to protect. And that's my thought process around this anyway. So what I'm going to do is open this up, get a look at the bees, see how they're behaving, and kind of gauge the situation. And if they look like they're getting defensive, then I'll go ahead and smoke them. And I'm still fighting the ant problem, even with the new frame, and I put cinnamon on the legs, the posts of the frame. Still got quite a few ants coming here and going after their syrup. So I'm still looking for solutions for that. Alright, take a look at this hive. Good morning, guys. Hello, everyone. Some flat bees here. Moment of silence for the flat bees. They don't seem to be posturing. When I opened up the hive before, I noticed at one point this is a couple days ago when I had to move the hives early in the morning in the pre-dawn hours in order to have my guys help out and set up this new hive stand. The bees, at least one of them was kind of posturing and craning its back and thrusting its abdomen up in the air. And that was what I had been led to believe based on a YouTube video that I had watched. That was a threatening posture. So what I did was I went ahead and smoked them to get them to calm down, get them to go and gorge themselves on honey, and then be a little more docile. Here's a bee checking me out right now, trying to say, "What's going on? What are you doing?" Alright, let's get a look at these frames. Looks like one of them here is kind of fused together with comb. So I'm going to have to fix that. Interesting. So they're already fusing the frames together. Trying to make everything structurally sound, I guess. Excuse me. Yeah, this looks fused together too. Oh, you know what I need? My frame holder. I'll be back in a minute. Alright, frame hanger. These things are very convenient. Hey guys, time to use the tool for what it's for. Oops. Phone is making noise. It's one of my reminder alarms. So this is a blank frame. I think what they're doing on this is they're just keeping it clean. So they're scouting the whole area and cleaning up any kind of pests or anything like that, I guess. Or maybe bacteria. But I know that's part of the job that workers do, is cleaning. Here's where all the bees are. Hey guys. Hello. All cleaning together. And they're starting to build comb on this one. And it smells different. Neat. Look at them all building their comb. Busy bees. Good morning, guys. So somewhere in the middle here is going to be the queen, probably right in here. See, this comb is grown across the frames, which I don't want. Good morning, guys. Sorry to disrupt your morning routine. There we go. Oh, I'm sorry, I cut too deep into there. Did you guys fix it? So I sheared off one portion of that comb that had grown across frames. And then when I sheared off the other portion, I cut into the main part of the comb, which is a bit of a bummer. Hello, young worker. Well, it's looking pretty good. There's a lot of comb in there. I don't really feel comfortable pulling this out because I don't want to risk injuring the queen. I got to get a little more familiar and comfortable with this whole process. But what I'm going to do is just separate these frames a bit. get them a little unfused here. It's interesting looking at the way that they fuse it together. I guess that's their way of making sure that the home remains secure. You know, even in the event of other disruptions, animals trying to invade, earthquakes, etc. So we do have bees in the hive here. That's not a good sign. I don't have to deal with that. Excuse me, bees. Oh, sorry, I'm squishing someone. Mm-hmm. Alright, excuse me. Excuse me. I don't know, does anybody else take this much care to not squish their bees? Am I crazy for doing this? Here. Comment if you think, if you're a beekeeper and you think that I go over the top to protect the bees. I don't really know what the standard is here. I'm a novice beekeeper, as mentioned before. But I feel like I don't want to injure or, kill any of them. I realize that they have a very large colony and that the queen is going to be producing more and more brood. But I just feel like I don't want to injure any of them. Now, part of it is because I'm a bit of a softie, I really love all animals. And part of it is also because I want the colony to thrive. Sorry, guys. Better? Oh, yeah. Excuse me. All right. That one's done. Let's go check on the next one. There are a lot more ants here. Here, take a look at that. Heck of a lot more ants. That's not good. I'm going to have to take a look at how they're getting onto this stand. Because I rubbed the cinnamon all over the stand, or all over the post for the stand, and yet there are still a ton of ants coming. Good morning. How is everybody? Morning, guys. So an interesting thing about bees is that they definitely seem to get used to their environment, like all animals, I'm sure. You know, they get used to the patterns, they get used to the environment. I don't know if they get used to my smell or anything, but I believe that they get used to the frequent environmental concept or aspect that there is a large animal invading their hive periodically. And as long as there's not a bunch of damage being done to the colony. Oh, here's a bee that's threatening down here. I saw that. It's only one though. Let's see. Nobody else seems to be posturing that way. So here's the amount of comb that's been produced on this frame. The other frames are still empty. Hi guys. Good morning. Looking pretty good. I don't see ants inside the hive of this box. No, there's one right here on the edge. I think it just got there. Even though they got tons of ants at the feeder, there are actually no ants inside the box itself. This is looking pretty good. Alright. Let's go look at this comb real quick. Still got a lot of comb to build on this frame. So they've really only built out the comb on the first two frames. Which I guess makes sense. They've only been here in this box for 8.5 days. Excuse me. Excuse me, guys. They move out of the way when you kind of squish them. I feel a little bad about squishing them regardless, and even if I'm not killing them. I guess I just got to get used to the fact that the bees are always in the way. Oh, I squished someone over here, darn it. I'm sorry. That's pretty cool. So you kind of squish them a little bit, and then you pull off and let go, and then they get out of the way. All right. Well, I guess it makes sense that bees would have, you know, a will to survive, right? Obviously. you want to maintain some even spacing in the edges here. Push everything together. Alright. Got a drone here. Look at this little drone. Hello, drone. Go mate with the queen. So far, only one bee out of the lot has made a threatening posture. That's pretty good. Alright. I have angered the Alright, didn't squish anybody with that one. I did squish bees between the frames, but oh well. I guess you lose sometimes. Anybody over here? There's a little bit going on here. There. Problem solved. Okay, so I squished at least one bee when pushing the frames back together. Feel bad about that. No stings, that's good so far, right? I haven't been stung since I brought these bees home, so I'm pretty thrilled about that. These bees seem to be very docile and gentle. I had one bee attempt to sting me through my glove on the day that I was releasing the queens. I think I mentioned that on that video. But it was just the one bee. Its stinger was left behind in the middle finger of my glove, I think it was. But I didn't actually get stung, so that's good. And that's the only attempt I've seen, and then that a couple times, twice I've seen bees make a threatening posture. And I smoked them the other day because they were making threatening postures and because I was moving the hives. Gotta take care of these damned ants. They're such pests. They definitely seem to avoid the cinnamon. But they just barely avoid it. They kind of walk around it, you know? So I need to either cover the environment, like just cover it everywhere, or figure something else out. Bees are active now. This hive, for whatever reason, seems to be more active than the other hive. Seems like they wake up earlier, seems like they have more guards. They don't seem to be more aggressive, as far as I know. As a matter of fact, the first time I had to deal with bees posturing was that hive over there, the pink one. This lavender one, for whatever reason, there are always more bees out in front. Let's look at these guys. This pistol grip I have for this camera is really stiff. I'm going to lighten it up. That's better. gonna focus. There we go. So here's the entrance of the bees, the hive. And these are some of my bees. Young worker bees are going to be the guards in their third week of life, I think. Is it drones? Drones and workers both. But workers are the ones that do all the fighting, right? I forget which ones. I think the drones do some guard duty as well. I think that's one of their two jobs. Well, I guess you could consider the third job begging for food from the workers. Their main job being to mate with the queen. One thing that I found to be really cool is during peak temperature time, when the sun is beaming down on the boxes and it's warm out, a whole bunch of bees will array themselves in front of the opening here and fan rapidly. It gets really much louder because you can hear there are a lot of bees on the inside of the box doing the same thing, and they're basically cycling air through. I think what they do is they I'm not sure if they try to pull air through the main opening and push it out through the upper vent. I'm not really sure. That would kind of make sense because cold air falls and hot air rises, right? Well, essentially hot air rises is what it is. So cold air tends to reside at the lowest point. I'm not sure if they're pulling in cold and pushing out warm from the top, if that's the way that they do it, but it'd be interesting to film that up close like I'm doing now so that we can see what's going on. So maybe I'll set up a camera to do that at some point. Anyway, this has been Zonia with Z's Bees fighting the eternal battle of ants. I really hate that. We got a lot of ants here. And now you know the latest updates with the hives. If you enjoy this kind of content, let me know by giving a like. Subscribe if you're interested in seeing more. Click the bell if you want to be notified when I put updates on the channel. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Have a good morning. Z out. One little update that I forgot to mention. The reason why I brought the smoker but didn't use it is because I figure a lot of people would argue just use a smoker anyway. If you're going to invade the hive like that, why risk it? Well, the reason why I want to risk it is because I'm a novice beekeeper and I want to learn how to read the bees. If I smoke the bees every time I access the hive, I don't really get a chance to learn to read the bees. So obviously, if I want the bees to act natural and gauge their behavior, I need to not smoke them. So I need to know what it's like to invade the hive at various times and pull the frames out when they have not just comb but brood in them. Hello there, little dove. Got a visit from a dove. Yeah, so I don't really want to just constantly smoke them and give myself this artificial experience. I want to have a natural experience with the bees and gauge their behavior. The more that I do that, the more I can read them and learn, okay, this is a time when I need to smoke them, or this is a time when I don't need to smoke them. And that builds on experience, builds on knowledge of how these bees function, and it also allows, I think, it allows the bees to become more familiar with me, or at least with my process. If I smoke them every time, I'm putting them in a condition of gorge themselves on honey and prepare to vacate the hive. And that's basically just conditioning them to not become familiar with my patterns, I think. Because when the bees gorge themselves on the honey, they become very docile, and all their only focus really is in sending workers out to scout and see the conditions of the fire, I'm guessing, and to look for new places to move the hive to. So that's what they're going to be focused on. I have a feeling that if I do that every time, they're not going to learn my behavior. They're not going to become familiar with my pattern of invading the hives. I want them to become familiar with me and my patterns so that there's lower risk. I don't have to worry so much about them getting angry and aggressive. So it goes both ways. I get to learn more about the bees and learn how to read their behavior, and they become more familiar with my patterns. And that's why I try to avoid using the smoker whenever possible. Now, hopefully, as I get more comfortable with what's going on here, I won't need to wear these big bulky gloves anymore, because I see lots of more experienced beekeepers working on their hives without gloves. And I'd like to get to that point because it gets hot and these gloves are warm. Oh, there go my drip system nozzles. Sorry about that noise. Anyway, that's why I try to avoid using the smoker when I can. But when it comes down to it, if they start getting aggressive and posturing, then yes, I'm going to use the smoker. I'm not going to risk it. Anyways, that was that one little update I wanted to make sure I got out there for you guys. Anyways, Zonia out.